Good vibes here.
Excellent vibes. Yes, I am ready for it. Been ready for it. This has been all year, just as this has been the absolute expectation, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
A little nervous
Yeah.
last week, but this is the expectation.
And it's crazy, especially, we've talked about it all season, all off season, about the way things ended last year. Well, it ended in this, exact spot that we finally are getting back to. And,
Mhm.
unfortunately, you don't just get to snap your fingers and the guys end back up at the NFC championship game, like they had to put in a lot of blood, sweat, tears, work, to get back to this spot. And they did it. So, looking good. Hope everybody's feeling good. We're doing great on an injury standpoint. So last time we had you on, we had about
Amen.
55 injury questions to ask. But this time the only person we have on the injury report is Debo at this moment. So and he's trending upward. So we're looking good, but we still do have some injury things to talk about. So let's start there. Let's get those out of the way and then we'll get into the games after that. Steph, what you got?
Well, earlier today, we did learn that Debo Samuel was limited participant in today's practice. And there were some videos of him like catching the football. I guess that's a pretty good sign. Yesterday he was just running. How much does this injury? I guess like we don't even know the specifics. It seemed intentional that Kyle like left out, I guess, the specifics of it. But how much with a shoulder injury does that like impact your mobility?
It depends on what we're looking at here. I mean, I was super optimistic based on just putting together clues from last Sunday. I was kind of like a super sleuth and just like went back and looked at the stuff because I was like, I'm not concerned. And I was actually impressed with myself that I wasn't concerned. And then I kind of put it out there that, hey, guys, they said no fracture. I'm totally excited and ready. Think it's going to be completely good to go. And I guess I shocked a lot of people. My Twitter just blew up, and all of a sudden they were asking me on like a different podcast, like, well, we got to have you on the pod on Monday. You got to talk about this. And I'm like, do I? So I was just really surprised. So here's the clues that kind of brought up and settled me down, I guess. Look, these are the clues. So number one, of course, just to go back several months, right before our bye, he had this injury. I believe it was the Cleveland game. He injured his shoulder. They thought everything was okay. They tried to push him through, and then it came back that he had a stress fracture or a hairline fracture in that shoulder. I still don't know which bone it was. If I had to guess, I'd guess it was the clavicle. So this bone right here that connects from the sternum out to the blade of the shoulder blade that comes across from the acromion. It creates an AC joint here. So the acromioclavicular, whoops, I'm trying to look at myself and do it at the same time. The acromioclavicular joint is right here. So sometimes when you have an injury to the shoulder, you can just get tension through that little ligament that connects those two and create what's called an AC joint sprain, all the way up to a separation. There's different grades of it. And you can have that with or without a fracture. And so my guess is he probably had a crack through that clavicle. If I'm guessing, I don't know. No one knows, right? So he spent his time healing that up. Everything was good to go. Now, could he have also had a labral tear, which is like I always call it like the meniscus of the shoulder joint. It's a padded material that's right there where the kind of glenoid and the humerus connect. There's like a padding right there. And so that you can get tears in. I mean, these guys probably have tears anyway. Did he jolt something in there? I don't think it was a tendon issue or tendonitis. But when he first injured it, his big thing was he couldn't lift his arm. He was in obvious pain. There was issues. So when you go to this injury, if you watch what the injury was, when he laid back, two things. He put his arms up for someone to help pull him up. And when they went to pull him up, he was like, no, I'm going to stay here. But then his hands went up to his helmet. He lifted his arms. When he walked off, he actually put something off that left shoulder because it was the left shoulder. He put something out. I don't know if it was mouth guard or what it was. He put something up as he was walking to the tent. So I'm watching this movement of the arms and I'm like, all right, I'm not quite sure what the injury really was, right? Well, then it came out, okay, it was probably a concussion. They were concerned about a concussion because of helmet to helmet. he cleared that, but then it still was the shoulder joint. And I bet they were just a little bit like, hey, let's not make sure you didn't re-injure that fracture site, is my guess. And because you missed it on the first one, the first x-rays the first time, and it took additional imaging before they found it, they probably were not comfortable with putting him back in there, is my guess. So, okay, great. But he told Jennifer Lee Chan immediately after, hey, I can lift my arm this time, so I'm good, I'm okay. So all of this stuff was very, very promising. And so when the report came through from Ian Rappaport that, hey, there was no fracture, they put him through the batteries of tests, I'm good then. Like, if there's no fracture, I think we're good. And, Debo said he was good. And so I kind of put all my bank on that. And thank goodness he's doing well at this point, because y'all would have come after me, I know, for saying that. But I was pretty confident. And looking at the films that have come out today about his practice, he looks phenomenal. I think he's going to be great. This is going to be a game. I'm ready to cook.
So do you feel like maybe the 49ers were trying to make it seem like it was worse than it was, or did they just really not know? Because we were hearing 50-50, like shot to play and all these things, or, they try to just keep their cards close to the vest a little bit.
I feel that way. And honestly, that's why I really didn't say anything. After Monday, I was like, I'm just going to shut up, because I don't want to mess any kind of game match that might be happening. Yeah. Plus jinxing. I'm a big person on that, but I really just didn't know what, I was like 50-50. Like, again, in my brain, I was like, really? Okay. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe he did have a glenoid or a labral tear or something, and maybe it's catching, but then he said he could lift his arm. So, it was a little perplexing. And I again, even with that, I'm like, okay, you can have a small labral tear and still play. So it was just so again, I'm like, I don't know who listens, who doesn't listen to me, but I'm just going to shut up for a while and let me just see how this plays out. So I do think maybe it was a chess part of the chess match. If you tell them, hey, it's 50-50, it might not look good, then they're planning a certain way. But it could also be like, maybe he looks real good, and then we turn around and we don't play him because now you've game planned for him. But now that the video's out there, I don't think there's any question in anybody's mind that he's going to be available and good to go.
Okay. Yeah. I felt pretty good with it, knowing like once it got out there that, okay, nothing's broke. I'm like, okay, if it's just a pain thing and Debo just has to play through pain, and it's not something that could, get worse or, has any effect like that, I'm like, I couldn't see him missing this game, especially after having, worried and not knowing what the injury was during the game. Like, I understand why he was held out, but after he had to sit there and just watch his guys go through that kind of game, almost lose, come back and win, like, you think he's going to just sit on the sidelines and watch again? I highly doubt it. Like, after I knew that, it was in my mind, like, Debo's playing.
Yeah, and he's going to be so hungry. He's going to be ready to eat, y'all. He's going to be ready to eat. Now, me at home, how we were all holding our breath every, like, movement that was made in that game last week. Every time he gets tackled, I'm holding my breath. You'll be sure of that, because obviously it's still vulnerable. Obviously he's still, there's still something there, and maybe he's got something still from the previous injury. Again, who knows if it was just the fracture, if there was soft tissue along with it that maybe got re-aggravated this time, that, maybe will be really addressed in the off season. We won't know, but he's good to go. He's going to play. And now I just need to make sure we do okay, have a good game. Don't get hurt. Let's get through this.
Yeah.
Who else you got, I guess I was just wondering, like, about that risk of re-aggravation, because I'm kind of thinking, maybe they use him as a decoy to just make sure he stays healthy. If there is any re-aggravation possible, could it turn into a fracture again?
So, he's young enough, and I'm sure that thing is well healed, that I'm not. Listen, any injury is any injury, and you can certainly, once you have something, it can always be more susceptible to injury. But I actually think maybe it's AC joint. It may just the way that he falls, the way that he's getting hit is more around that AC joint area. But also, when I watched that game, he had his arm out and they were pressing around, and it looked like they were pressing more back here. So I don't know if that maybe was where his fracture was coming off of the acromion from the shoulder blade. So it's really peculiar. I don't really know. I'm always fascinated by it, but um, the way that he falls, he's gotten a number of injuries over the course of the couple of years. And again, like you said, last year, I mean, I was talking about I was doing like a clinic on all the different injuries, but this year, not so much. And I'm proud of it and I'm happy for it. And I don't want this to be the time for it. So we're just going to keep all those bad juju vibes over there. They're going to stay over there.
Yeah, totally good with that. I guess like we're good on the 49ers side. I think we're feeling very optimistic about Deebo Samuel, so we don't need to spend too much more time on that. But the Lions are dealing with a couple of injuries as well. We already know that Jonah Jackson probably going to be out in this game. I don't think he's officially been declared out or anything, but it's not looking too good for him. And on the other side, or right next to him, rather, you have the center, Frank Ragnow, who's dealing with a knee sprain and an ankle sprain. He gutted it out last week, and I think he's going to gut it out again. He hasn't been practicing, but there's a reason for that. He doesn't need a practice, and they're probably just keeping the swelling down. But when you're dealing with two injuries, and I assume maybe it's wrong for me to assume it's on the same leg, but when you're dealing with two different injuries like that, how much could that impact the mobility or like the strength of an offensive lineman? Because they need that strength to anchor, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it definitely is going to play a factor, and it's still very acute, right? We're not looking at maybe 4 or 5 weeks out. This happened just last week. So I'm actually trying to look up now to see if it's on the same side or if it's different sides, different legs. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, it's super important. If you remember, Eric Armstead had something similar. So last year it was not his ankle, but it was his foot and his knee. Even this year it was his foot and knee at one point. And you saw how that kept him out. So it's vital. It's vital. That's all I can say about that. But guess who he's going to be staring down on the other side? And they're not going to give him any kind of breaks. So it's so funny. The Lions fans are such great people, and it's such a great story. And I hate to be, kind of callous about it all, but it is what it is. We've been through our injuries. And if we capitalize on it, it's part of the game, right? So
yeah,
it's the world balancing itself out, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're finally getting a return.
The fact that he came back last game and even played through like a double sprain, like we know, like depending on, if it's a high ankle, low, different, but we've seen ankle sprains just alone hold guys out for a number of weeks, and to have a knee sprain then on top of it, and him just be like, okay, well, probably during halftime, whatever, shot him up a little bit and throw me back out there, man, you got to be a tough SOB to be dealing with that kind of stuff and playing on the line, like you said, like such a vital part, especially of that offense. Like the O-line of that offense is huge, and they've been huge for them all year,
Well, he's a center too. So think about that. He's crouched down, balls there. The quickness that requires of not just anchoring, but the quickness of hiking the ball and getting up and being ready to, push against a giant, massive force is it's something to keep an eye on for sure.
To take it back to the 49ers, I do have a question, related with Ambry Thomas, because we know that he was out, had surgery. Obviously, we know he didn't have his best game this last game, but that was also his first game back from this injury. Can you kind of talk about, do you think that maybe has something to do, him being out with the injury? I know a lot of people just want to kill him. It's cut Ambry, all this crazy overreaction. But like, if you stop and actually think about it, like he was out a few weeks, he had surgery. It's on his hand, a hand that he has to use. Like,
and I believe it's his dominant.
About what he's kind of going through in that situation over there.
Yeah, and I think it's his dominant hand. I think he's right-handed, correct? So think about that. When we're handed, when we're dominant on one side, or greater flexibility. It's greater strength. It's all these, that's your best side. So now you come back, that's somewhat compromised. And I believe where it was on his hand, it's going to affect his grip. So trying to tackle, trying to grab things, trying to even catch a ball might still be painful. Of course it's still going to be painful. I think he's only his 3rd week out. Yeah. So, you've seen how some of those balls are thrown, and these are serious quarterbacks. These are not, these balls are getting hurled. And if you're trying to put your hand in the middle of that hurts. Fun fact, the most sensory neuron endings on our bodies is on the palms of our hands, the soles of our feet, our mouth, and let's just say our unmentionables. So anything that, that's why things when we get, bit or something hot burns us, if it's on our hand, it's way more painful than it would be if our tush did it or our thigh or something like that. We have more sensory endings there. So it's very painful to have surgery on a hand, on the bottom of a foot, anything like that. So we do have to give him a little bit of grace. For him to even be out there is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Great question.
Well, thank you. I kind of come up with good questions every once in a while.
By the way, can I just give you guys some love? I messaged Steph. I'm like, you guys have been everywhere. I can't get on X. I can't get on YouTube. I can't go anywhere without seeing beautiful faces of Steph and Mariah just giving their takes. You guys got great content, very, very smart, representing us women so well. Thank you for all you do for all of us Niners faithful. So just wanted to throw that out there and give you guys
thank
flowers.
You so much.
Yeah, it's not Valentine's
Greatly
yet.
Appreciate it. You make us sound way more awesomer than we really are, but we'll take the flowers anytime you want to give them.
Listen, this is like the two goats. I'm like, okay, if they're the two goats, am I like the baby sheep or like the baby lamb or something?
Whatever you want to be.
One more thing, I think, two more injury things, quick ones. One is Armstead. And kind of the same situation that, a little like with Ambry, we know, but he was out 7 weeks. I was listening to him talk to the podcast with him and Richard Sherman. Really great. If you guys haven't listened to it, make sure you check it out. But yeah, he had said that he had been out 7 weeks. So, you're coming back into the game, a game that's so high, everything, right? Like everything on the line, and you're getting thrown back into the action right then out of all games. And then people are just expecting him to come back and be Eric, right? Like there's no time to get ramped back up into anything. And he didn't have a great game, but it's not like he was an area of concern either, I wouldn't say. But what do you think, moving forward? Can we expect, maybe more Eric back this week? Where do you think he's at with what he's dealing with?
Well, something just entered my mind. I want to go back real quick to Ambry Thomas. Did you guys listen to the Coach Wilkes talk today? Mm-hmm. It was interesting how he mentioned that he was like, "Oh, we got to get him over the wrist." There's something up here too. I meant to mention that because my ears perked up when I was like, "Oh, so there's still like some overcoming the injury mentally too with that." So that's a sidebar. But back to Eric Armstead. So excited to have him back. But yeah, imagine being off of just our jobs, right? Our desk jobs for 7 weeks. Imagine us not doing it. And then one day showing up and we just got to jump in, right? It's a lot. And that's not even a physical part of it. That's the mental side of it, right? So it's a lot to expect. And listen, we're 49er fans. Our expectations are probably higher than anybody else's in the NFL. Maybe Chiefs fans, right? But we have high expectations. Our team has been so productive over the past few years. And we know we have a team that can get us there and lift up our number 6. So I think he played above my expectation, to be honest. I didn't even expect him to be out there as much as he was, but he's needed. He's a piece that we need of that defensive line. And according to Fred Warner, this defense is ready to shut down some Lions. They're like, I think he said something like 3 points is all they're going to allow or something like that. He put it out there. So I'm okay with that. That sounds good.
he said that as long as the offense scores 3 points, that's all that they will need to win the game.
Yeah.
That the defense will do.
Oh,
the
is that
rest.
what he said?
So.
Okay. All right. I heard 3 and I was like, well, I'm okay. I'm always so high on the defense. You guys know me. I just love defense. So
real quick, chat, we appreciate all of you, even you, Trisha Miller. While you're there, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Yeah, and we can put whatever slogan we want as our name title, but thank you for trying to be the slogan police. We greatly appreciate you. This week it was also announced, which, you know, going into this week, I wasn't thinking, no thoughts about anybody coming off the IR. I'm thinking who we got, right? Like this far into it. But they did announce this week that they were opening the window for Kalia Davis to come off of IR. You know, if we're able to get him back for this game, like we need all the help against the run that we can get for this game. And that's what he specializes at, right? Like that's his thing, stopping the run. Do you think that that's a possibility to even get him back and plug him in this fast? Like, where do you think we're at with the Kalia Davis situation?
I don't know. I don't know enough about the ankle injury to know where he is. I mean, ankles are so tough. Again, just like what we said before, you need that. That's I mean, and just even the tackles when they fall, they get stepped on. It's a twisting kind of. I mean, at least the weather's going to be good, so it's not like he's going to be stuck in mud and all of that and all the nonsense that we had last week. It's a possibility, but I kind of wouldn't expect it. I think that's and yeah, I think Kalia Davis would be a huge boost. I'd be surprised. I'll put it that way. I'll be surprised if he makes it. And if he does, maybe they rotate him in just to test it out, but I don't know that he's quite there yet.
Yeah. Part of me wonders if maybe they're opening his practice windows, see how, you know, Chase Young does, you know, with the, you know, setting the edge this week. And if he does bad again, I wouldn't be surprised if, assuming the 49ers, you know, make it to the Super Bowl, if they activate Kalia Davis and then have Eric Armstead on the outside in certain, you know, maybe down and distance situations or, you know, obvious passing downs, have him on running plays, have Eric Armstead on the outside, and then he can help set the edge. Because I think he might be better at it than Chase Young. I don't know.
I know. Are you guys surprised by that?
I am. I'm surprised by the whole Chase Young experience, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd say disappointed.
Yeah.
It started out strong, right? And I feel like it's just kind of fizzled. And
I'll say this. I think he was getting credit for things that maybe weren't necessarily him. Like after the bye week, there were a lot of changes I think the 49ers made, and we all kind of attributed it to, you know, Chase Young being there. But he's had some plays here and there. I don't want to like take that away from him, but I think there's been effort issues, as we've seen, the run defense issues. So it's just been kind of inconsistent with him.
Yeah, I think, yep. I was just going to say, Rohan brings up a good mention here. We were warned.
We definitely.
I think we're still getting more out of him than what he would have produced in Washington. But it still doesn't meet the expectation. I wouldn't expect him to still be a 49er next year. What do you guys think?
Me either. Especially when we first got in, I still go back to people talking about, oh, we're not going to be able to sign Ayuk now because we have to pay like somebody that we just got on our team. Don't sign the guy that we've molded and had on our team and drafted and all that. Sign this guy that we just picked up from the scrapyard, you know, like, no, yeah, I don't expect him to be here.
I always felt like that talk was very premature when I saw that starting to happen, like people bringing that up. It's like, come on, like we got to see this play out and we got to see what he does to finish this season before making that decision. And I think we're getting some answers as to what the 49ers are going to do. I mean, I think part of the larger reason why the 49ers brought him on, one, because they had injuries at edge, but also if he leaves for free agency, they get a comp back. So that's really what's valuable to the 49ers. And so I don't think that, he would be in the plans to re-sign. You got to get that comp pick and move on. And I mean, like I said, they needed him because they were dealing with injuries, and they still need him because Clinton Farrell is out right now too. So yeah, gonna have to make do with what you have.
Yeah, agree.
I never
Go
ahead. Go ahead.
No, good.
I was gonna say I never thought when we got Cleveland on the team that going into the playoffs, like he would be the player like I was missing the most not being here. Like he was such a vital part for us this entire season, and more than I was ever, the role I was ever expecting him to have. And obviously the loss to Drake Jackson, and Drake Jackson obviously not being what we thought he was going to be this season either, even before the injury. But Cleveland kind of took that role and had been solid for us right there, and to lose him right when you're going into the playoffs, like I hate that injury. Like I hate it for him. I hate it for our team, like to be such and I feel so bad too for I had put out a post this week about Hufanga. Like guys that contribute so much to this team, and then they're not there for the actual Super Bowl run, I hate that for them. And yeah, everybody's like, well, he'll still get his ring and yada yada, but that's not the same of actually playing in the Super Bowl. Right. Oh, I got a Super Bowl ring, but I wasn't even suited up, yeah, it still counts, but it's not the same of you actually getting to suit up in those lights on that stage, where everybody wants to go, where you dreamed of being your whole life. And to be such a part of our season, and it's you get almost there and it's sorry.
Yeah,
the worst part of this sport obviously is injuries, I swear.
I know Huff is one of my favorites too for this team, and just I miss him. I still miss him. In that secondary, I still feel like we're not organized back there. There's still some, I don't know, miscommunication. Something's going on back there. It's just it's that piece. I was worried when we didn't have Jimmy Ward anymore, and I was like, who's going to fill that void? And then in comes Huff, and it was just beautiful. And then, we're so hungry this year, and then it's no, seriously.
Yeah.
So definitely miss that guy.
I think it was David Lombardi earlier this week that posted the defense's splits with and then after Hufanga. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. So weeks 1 through 11 in defensive EPA per play, the defense was number 5 overall, number 5 in the pass, and number 28 in the run. Weeks 12 to now, so post Hufanga, they're overall number 22 in defensive EPA per play, pass number 18, run 22. So run slightly better. I don't know how that happened. Also, it doesn't feel like it, but you see the difference in the overall and then the pass defense EPA. That's a pretty big difference. And so I don't think I had really realized how much Hufanga being out hurt the defense, but that's definitely looking at those numbers pretty eye-opening.
What's up, Gammon?
Before we get into the games, let's break it up here with Gammon's question. So speaking of hungry, which I am hungry, my wife just went and got me food, so it's sitting over there. I'm smelling it right now. What is your favorite food? What you guys got?
Pizza.
Oh yes, I love pizza.
I was just talking about this earlier today. It's pot roast. Is that weird?
That is weird. Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, if I ever am on death row and they're last meal, it's pot roast.
What?
They're that's what you get every day. What do you mean?
I mean, seriously, pot roast is my jam, especially on a cool day with my Niners blanket all snugged up. Yeah. Side of cornbread. I don't know. I'm weird. The other one would be pho, which I think Young Heavy, I don't know if I follow him, but he just asked about trying that. And I'm like, yes, I just had it yesterday because it was so good. So
Steph, what kind of pizza though? What, just cheese? You got toppings on there? What do you do?
I do toppings. I'll take pizza any freaking way I can get it. And that's the beauty of pizza, is it doesn't really matter too much what's on it. I do have some things I just will not accept on it, like artichoke. I just I won't do that.
Yeah.
Broccoli, you know, the weird California
weird
pizza
shit,
type
yeah.
stuff. But yeah, I'm typically a pepperoni gal, you know, myself. Sometimes I throw in some sausage in there, so pepperoni sausage is like my go-to. Yeah, that's usually the one.
Do you like
Pineapple
the
on pizza, yes or no?
I used to be against it, but these days, like, I don't mind it too much because my girlfriend likes Hawaiian pizza, so I have
See, I didn't
found
even
that to
see
be
all
good.
this.
Okay. Yeah,
Found it to
people
be
are
good.
down with the pineapple pizza. I'm down for that.
I like it too.
Do you like
Mhm.
thick crust or thin or wood fired?
I hate thin crust. Wood fired, it has to be like perfect because I don't like tasting like the burnt parts. Like it changes the flavor entirely. I like pan personally. I like pan pizza. That's the best with the crispy like edges. Yeah.
Mariah, what's yours?
Now you guys getting me hungry.
I know,
Well,
I'm
first,
starving.
let me tell James that this would be probably one of the pizzas I would not eat out of all of them. Pretty much pizza like with just no veggies. I can like I'll peel off anything. Like I'm good with just cheese. Extra cheese, I'm good. I do pineapples. But yeah, I don't know. I hate vegetables regardless where it's at. But my favorite food is definitely Mexican food, any pretty much Mexican food. My wife is part Mexican, so we definitely have great home cooked Mexican food in this house. And if I didn't say like pretty much anything she makes, like I'm really spoiled that she's a amazing cook. Her mom is a great cook, so like it's kind of just passed on. Like her grandma's a great cook, all the aunts, 30 of them are all great cooks, so it's kind
Dang.
of just like a thing. So I'm definitely, that's probably why I'm a little chunky because I eat great food. What can I say? I like to eat. I'm too old to be worrying about that now. So yeah, I definitely, and like I said, I'll eat pretty much anything that's not vegetables.
Hating
Yeah.
on my vegetables, man. I'll eat anything. Do you see these cheeks? They like there is no like we'll have pizza. I'll eat Mexican. I'll have Chinese. I will eat. Yeah, there's no discrimination when it comes to food.
Love tamales, Gammon. Tortas, my wife eats tortas a lot. That's not really my thing. Like I would eat it. It's not like I dislike it. But tamales definitely. Yes. Can't go wrong with that. All right.
Wait,
Now that
so
we're
wait,
all-
I got a question then. So where are you gals from?
I am from the Bay Area, but I've lived in Colorado for the past 2 years now.
You have this unique way of saying certain words that
I
I
do?
love. There's like a roll to the R or
Me?
something. So that's why I was so fun. I'm like, is she really
Maybe
from
it's like a-
California?
That's probably a Spanish.
It's gotta
Maybe.
be the Spanish.
Am
Okay,
I
and
rolling
you,
my R's?
Mariah, where are you from?
I'm from Vegas, Las Vegas.
Wait, that's
Born
right,
and
you're
raised.
Vegas. That's right,
Still
that's
here.
right. Got it. We neighbors. Okay.
Hopefully not for too much longer, but we're
Oh,
here now.
All right.
We out here.
Hey, you'll be right there for the Super Bowl. Sweet.
Yep.
Do you have
So
plans?
hopefully, no. I'm planning for my team to be playing in the Super Bowl in my city. That's my
I
plan.
do recommend the Super Bowl. I do recommend going to the what's it called? Like the Super Bowl. They always have like the place you can go to.
The row.
Yeah,
What's it called? Something row.
I just had it in my brain before
Super Bowl
I freaked
City?
out.
I don't know. I forget what it's called because they did have it in San Francisco once.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was super fun.
Yeah,
What do
I
you guys
can't
think
think
of
of
the
it.
game?
I don't know yet. It depends. I'm waiting to see if we're
Do you watch
there or we're
from
not
home?
there.
Otherwise, are you tailgaters? Will you just go tailgate, or do you guys go to a bar and watch it with a bunch of Niner fans? Or are
Probably
you at
we'll
home?
go. Yeah, we'll probably. I don't know. I've been just all home all season, but maybe for that game we go out. We'll see.
Steph?
Maybe.
I usually watch at home because I do my post game show. I take notes.
I figured you were locked in.
Yeah, I can't be talking to people. I hate when people text me while I'm watching the game. Yeah, I'm locked in, all the way locked in. But I'll tweet on Twitter.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I see them. They're great.
What about you?
I don't know. I don't It depends on the game. Like the last game of the season, I was like, sure, I'll go to a bar. That's fine. I don't, it is what it is. We're probably not going to play our starters the whole game. That's great. But games like this, I can't predict my behavior. So I really should not be
That's true.
in public. I can't even handle myself at home. Like my family doesn't even watch games with me. So I probably will just be home. I was thinking about going to a 49er bar here in town for the pregame and then come home for the actual game is probably. But, you guys know my husband's a Ravens fan. So like that game's at 3. So I'm trying to see if he really wants me to watch the game with him. Or
so
if I can.
Would you be rooting against the Ravens in that game, or would you go for the Chiefs?
All right, guys, let's be real here. There's already turmoil in the household. So last weekend, we got invited to our friend's house who's a big Niners fan. Context, the last time we were at that house was when the Super Bowl was. And my husband got upset because he wanted to watch the game at home. I wanted to watch it with the 49er neighbors. And so he watched over there and then he left and got upset because I wouldn't go watch the game with him at home. So I felt guilty. So when those lights came back on, I went home.
That's right, because there's the power outage.
Y'all know what happened after that. So we went back to that house last weekend for his game. And I did, I liked what the Texans were bringing to the table. So I would cheer for the Texans. But I also, when Lamar did a run, I would say, hey, great job by Lamar. Well, apparently I didn't cheer enough for the Ravens. And so it was a situation. And so now we're really trying to figure out delicately how we handle our marriage and these games this weekend. I'm not sure.
So if it's a 49ers Ravens Super Bowl, it really will be a house divided.
I really need people to pray for us. Like, I am not even kidding you. I think we had to go to counseling after the last one. So probably because of me. It's probably me. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted. But
was that a little ode to Taylor Swift there? Is that a little
I didn't unintentionally, but I guess so.
Like secretly rooting for the Chiefs.
Also, I grew up in Baltimore, so I'm just the enemy all the way around. So that's why I hang with my 49er folks and stay on Twitter and hang with my people. Then I don't have to worry about it.
Since we're already talking about Ravens Chiefs, let's start with that game. Who you guys got winning? I know you say you want, who you really going for, Desi? I know, regardless how your husband's feelings, who do you think is going to win? He's
not watching right now.
Oh, it's being recorded though. I'm really, honestly, I joke around about this all the time. I actually like the Ravens. Lamar went through hell last year, right? To get that contract. I actually love Mark Andrews. That's why he was on my fantasy team. J.K. Dobbins was on my fantasy team. I think was it you, Mariah? I texted or messaged on X, like, seriously, every player that got injured this year was on my team. So you guys know I love defense, and they have a gnarly defense, and I love Harbaugh, and I do like that team. So in fact, I like Lamar. My husband doesn't even like Lamar. So I know, right? I'm kind of just. Not that I don't like the Chiefs. I'm kind of over that. But also I'm worried about my marriage. So I'm okay if the Ravens win is how I'll say this.
Okay. I for me, you know how I feel, Mariah. Like, I am so tired of the Chiefs. And I think why I'm tired of them too is because I didn't even feel like they had that great of a season. Like, I didn't even think they were going to make it past the Bills. All right. And, maybe they did have some help, just a little bit. It seems like the NFL still likes them enough. I think they like the Taylor Swift hype as well and how that helps the viewership. So they're kind of riding that wave. And then
now with Jason Kelce just showing his shirt, everything.
Yeah, too. I mean, I like Jason Kelce. I really do. He's precious. But yeah, I mean, Mahomes and Andy Reid in the playoffs, they know how to flip a switch, and that's dangerous. But the Ravens are just so good. Like, in my eyes, I think they can beat anyone on that side. And I mean, we saw it, what they did to the Texans, and Texans maybe just a year or two away from, really giving the AFC some trouble. But I just feel like the Ravens are just such a well-disciplined team, well-coached team on both sides of the ball. I think if there's anyone who can beat this Chiefs team against the refs as well, it'd be the Ravens. So I pick Ravens to win.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn here because I do think, and I've been kind of, on all my pick'ems this entire season, like I was picking the Ravens. Like they got me through a lot of things this season. And they have a great team. Like, we watched it. We watched it. And yeah, I'm sick of Kansas City. I'm sick of Mahomes. But like you said, they had a crappy season for them. And yet they get into the playoffs and you mix Mahomes and Andy Reid, and it's hard to bet against them. I too thought that, this was the Bills' best chance to beat them.
Yeah.
Well, we saw how that went. It's going to be a hell of a game. Let's just say that.
We're going to let her off the hook.
My heart wants to pick the Ravens. My brain tells me don't bet against Mahomes and Andy Reid till they show me that they're not that anymore. And I mean, I can only go by what I've seen, and somehow Mahomes just fucking pulls it out. Like, you think that he's down, you think that everything's over, and all of a sudden here he comes, and it's just crazy. Like, he don't have to have a wide receiver catching a ball, and somehow he manages to win the game. Like, amazing. Like Houdini over there. So yeah, like, I mean, to just, not take this shitty way out of it, I'll just say the Ravens. But like you said, if there's a team that could take out Kansas City, it would be the Ravens. I also think that after the season the Ravens just had and being the number 1 seed and home field advantage and all that, if there's a team that can take out the Ravens, it's Mahomes and Andy Reid and the Chiefs.
That's fair.
So
I'll say this too. Like I've thought about it, and the NFL already looks pretty bad, and it's embarrassing how when Lamar there was all this talk before Lamar got his deal, and I don't know if it was like trade talk or anything like that, but all these teams came out and were like, we're not interested in Lamar Jackson. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, he's like one of the most elite quarterbacks in the entire league. What do you mean? Like, you don't want to look into him? And maybe like, even the 49ers could probably be in that conversation as well. There's so many teams who is just baffling how, and they weren't interested in him. And it all goes back to like this theory, like all the owners like came together and were like, no, we're shutting this down because Lamar was doing something good for himself and betting on himself. And they didn't like that. So they all kind of, went against him last off season. So they look really silly right now, seeing as how the Ravens season has gone, seeing how good Lamar has looked. He's always been good, but like, I think even more so. And if they go to the Super Bowl and they win the Super Bowl, that'll look even worse on the NFL. Everyone's going to be bringing that back up. And I don't know if the NFL would want that, if they can control it, if they can help it. So
I know Lamar's mom is going to be celebrating big.
Definitely. Shout out to James says, revenge against Mahomes would be sweeter. Half the Ravens today aren't even old enough to remember the Super Bowl 12 years ago. Kansas City fans, so annoying.
Wow,
I don't want to look too much. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't want to look too much further ahead because obviously we got to beat the Lions first, and that's the task at hand. But since James was so courteous and so wonderful to donate to the channel, what would you guys rather have? Would you rather face Kansas City and get payback against them, or would you rather get the revenge against the Ravens? Who would you guys rather face in the Super Bowl when we make it?
When I need street cred in my house.
That could be dangerous.
That is it. I'm tired of his bullshit. Trying to hear what this Ravens did to me. So
There you
no,
have it.
there's my answer.
Okay. I mean, for the 49ers, it's revenge either way, right? If they were to be either of these teams. So I think like it would be sweet either way. I know like there's a lot of different players on that Ravens team than there was 12 years ago. Same coach though, John Harbaugh. So there'd be some satisfaction to that. But I think there'd be a slightly more satisfaction to Mahomes just because that was the most recent. I think like there's maybe only like 7 or so 49ers who are on that team, that Super Bowl team. So at least there's some players who remember what it felt like to lose in that game. And so I'd want revenge for those guys, I think. And they were so close. They were so freaking close. Like it hurts me. It pains me so much how close they were, and they just, couldn't get it done. So yeah, I think that would be the sweetest revenge. So I'd say, Chiefs.
I'm going to go the Ravens because at the time, like I literally cried tears when we lost that Super Bowl, like broke my heart, ugly cried tears. The loss to Kansas City, like I thought for sure that 49ers team was going to win. There was no doubt in my mind that we would lose to the Chiefs. But like that loss, I don't know if it's because I had COVID at the time or what, but I was just sick. I was just over it. Like I just turned off the freaking game and went to bed. Like, of course it hurt. It still hurts. Trust me. It still freaking hurts. But in my heart, the revenge that and I want to beat Mahomes. Trust me, I want to beat him. But the revenge would feel so much greater for me to just beat the shit out of the Ravens. Because screw them all. But I want to beat them both.
Right?
Somehow, if we can come back to the Super Bowl next year and beat the opposite of whatever one, then that'll be great.
Yeah.
All right. Let's look forward to this game. Big game. A lot. Well, actually, before we get into that, let's stop on Brock Purdy real quick. A lot of hate. Let me get this off my face so I could actually see here. A lot of hate on Brock Purdy this week because of the game he played last week. Yet it wasn't just him, right? The whole team played last week. And then we have, and I keep saying this, like, I swear that comparison is the thief of all joy for football, because it's like, oh, he gets up, and you would think when we have a quarterback like Goff on the other side that all the hate wouldn't just be on Brock Purdy, but they keep wanting to compare him to these other quarterbacks that are in the playoffs. Like compare him to Mahomes, compare him to Lamar, compare him to Josh Allen. Why can't we just let the guy that's in his second year of being a quarterback be a quarterback? He's gotten his team to the NFC Championship 2 years out of 2 years. Like, what more could you want from the kid? It's like he constantly is getting beat up because of the talent on his team. So Steve Young, Montana, didn't have Jerry Rice. Like all the great teams don't have talent on them. Like I didn't know that a bunch of scrubs just went and won the Super Bowl ever in my life. Like I've never heard that story. The media is just on a Brock Purdy hate spree this week. It's the most amazing thing that I've seen, that you can go from being the last pick of the draft, this feel-good underdog story 1 year, your first year, and by the next year that you come from a season-ending injury, they don't know if you're even going to be able to start, yada, yada, all this shit going against you. You somehow get back from injury, you take your starting job, you lead your team back to the NFC Championship, and yet the media hates him. Like, it's the weirdest thing to me. What do you guys make of all this hate against our quarterback?
We'll let Desi cook first.
Well, first, I want to say I showed up with my Brock Purdy t-shirt. So this is when he first got in. And this was when he said Brock at quarterback.
That's awesome.
This is my custom shirt from that year because I have been riding the Brock Purdy train since the jump. I love this kid. And one of the things that I loved the most about him was that he was so solid in who he is. He is strong in knowing what he is capable of, what his purpose is, and there's no breaking that. And I was like, this is a kid that can handle pressure. And that is, I think, part of why he executes so incredibly well on the field. He knows he doesn't have to be Josh Allen. He doesn't have to be Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't have to be Lamar. He has said it to us over and over again. I just need to do what the coach is telling me to do, period. That's also what makes him an incredible leader and team player. So I don't really care what the damn media says. If we're winning, that's my damn quarterback. And keep his name out your damn mouth because
period.
It's not your team. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Period,
like, I just block the hate is really what I'm trying to do right now, because that's not, it doesn't even matter. Everybody's got assholes, just like everybody's got opinions, guess what? Keep that on that side. I love my quarterback. I think he's the right fit. I think this is the perfect match for Kyle Shanahan, and everybody on the team loves this kid. I mean, the way that Trent Williams treats him just is like warms my heart. My mommy heart just gets all warm and fuzzy, and I'm like, oh, look at that. It's just fantastic. And that's exactly Marco. He came back from a season-ending injury. The kid, this is his first full year post that. Like, it blows my mind. By the way, shout out to his doc. Like, can we all just give a round of applause to that surgeon? Bro, we are thankful for this season because of you. So that's my like 15 seconds on the soapbox. I'll pass the mic to someone else. But that's my damn quarterback.
Before you go, Steph, it's a damn shame that he ain't even on the list for comeback player of the year.
Thank you.
Let's get that out there too. Like the guy, like I put it out there on X, like our quarterback started training camp with one arm, literally, and yet somehow isn't on the comeback player of the year. Like, ridiculous. Go ahead, Steph.
He played so well that people just forgot that he had that surgery. Sometimes I even forget that he had the surgery this offseason, and there was a moment in time this offseason that we questioned whether or not he would even play. But you want to know why people hate on him? It's because, they want to be right. And they've been wrong about him this entire time. There's a lot of people who think he's just a fluke, who think, oh, this is just some Linsanity run. It's going to end at some point. The other shoe is going to drop. People, it's been like almost 2 years at this point, and it still hasn't happened. So at what point are you going to admit that you were wrong on him? Well, a lot of people are going to continue to hold on to their beliefs on Brock and look stupid in the process. And I actually can't wait for it. Like, give me more. Give me more hate of Brock, and because I want more people to look stupid when he proves all these people wrong. And it happens like every single week. And the movement of the goalposts is just insane. To me, that makes it even more clear that they're setting unrealistic like standards and expectations on a 2-year quarterback. Like, when did we ever start doing that? I see first-round picks who should be getting all of those expectations, who should be getting all of those comparisons, right? All those things, they get let off the hook. And for what reason? I don't really know. But the mystery relevant kid who was at one point for everyone, this awesome underdog story. I know for us 49er fans, he still is. But I think a lot of people got tired of the Brock Purdy talk. And sorry, my cat's feeder just went off. But I think a lot of people got tired of it. And when it got to the point of MVP conversation, I think it rubbed some people the wrong way too. And so they're kind of projecting that onto him too, even though it's not his fault that, people had him in that conversation. Mind you, he had the stats that deserved him to be in that conversation, but people want to put that on him. So it's ridiculous all the way around. And I just hope they look stupid at the end of the day.
The one that like I'm all for like ignoring it, shutting it down. But when you get paid millions of dollars to talk about football for a living, and you get behind the mic this week and say the single hardest thing that you had to do this season was lie about Brock Purdy being an MVP candidate. The hardest thing you had to do this season? Then why did you fucking do it?
Yeah.
Right.
That was a
Handle-
complete
handle
chip.
business,
Say whatever you
right?
gotta say. Like, what?
That was a chip on his integrity.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I
Disgusting.
ever needed. That's actually, he don't care. And I know nobody doesn't care.
No.
I unfollowed him right away
Yeah.
after that, because if you're going to come out and say that you lied about something so, I mean, to me, that's benign. Why would you lie
Mhm.
about that?
Yeah.
Then what else is, what else are you putting in the closet? Just hiding away from everybody. So I'm done with that. I don't need that nonsense in my life.
Keep our quarterback's name out your mother effing mouth, okay? All right, Lions. The Lions. How you guys feeling about this game? How you guys feeling after the performance you saw from our team last week? How you feeling that they can come back from that? Give me your thoughts, ladies, on this game coming up.
I feel like we're going to play at least 25% better, just because the elements are out. Period.
Yeah.
And after I talked myself through that, I'm not worried.
I think for me, it's been cautious optimism. I don't think I'm really expecting the other, or I'm not expecting the 49ers to play like they did last week, kind of like you said, Desi, because rain's not going to be a factor. I think if there was any rust last week, which I think, maybe to start there was, certainly for Brock Purdy, it was hard for him to get out of that rust and get back into a rhythm. One, because he almost threw that pick early in the game. I think after that, he kind of shielded himself a little bit. And then also I think the rain, kind of hindered his confidence on some throws too. So he was kind of thinking about it a little bit more. So that alone, and also not to mention the defense was slipping. So that alone, just the rain not being a factor, I think is huge for the 49ers. And they're going to be at home again. They have one extra day of rest than the Lions did going into this week. And the Lions do have to travel. So that's probably at least half a day extra of less rest for the Lions in that regard. And, I just think the 49ers, them being back where their season ended last year, I feel like there's a different feeling in this game for them, and they kind of know what they have to do. As far as the defense, Jared Goff, you know who he is. This defense knows who he is. And when you hear Nick Bosa talk about Jared Goff earlier today, I think it was kind of clear. They know he's the same guy. He's just shielded behind this awesome offensive line, but that offensive line has some injuries. So I think they feel like there's going to be an opportunity for them to get after Jared Goff. And if you get after Jared Goff, it's going to go a lot better than it did against Jordan Love, because Jordan Love was just completely unfazed by any pressure. Jared Goff is not that guy, pal. So for that reason, I feel good about the 49ers. But of course, I also think it's going to have to come down to the run game. So defending the run game, they have to be better at that. They have to. And if they are, I feel very good about this game.
Yeah. Real quick, Marco says, is it weird that I'm a huge Richard Sherman fan now? It is definitely not weird, because I love Richard Sherman. He was one of the players I won't say hate, but it was almost to that level. I hated, before he came to the 49ers. And even once he signed for the 49ers, I'm like, really? Out of all people, you had to go get this guy? And then that he quickly changed that, from his leadership, from his, the way he mentored the young guys on that run, and he's kind of just had the 49ers back ever since, so he's definitely one of the guys I listen to. I listen to pretty much all of his podcasts. And he's smart. We know he's one of the smartest corners out there. So it was only made sense for him to go into podcasting and all that. And he speaks so well. He's explained stuff so well, just his understanding of stuff. I think he's great to listen to.
Sure.
going into this game, yeah. Like I said yesterday, stop the run. Number one. Two amazing running backs. Stop the freaking run. Like, please give it everything you got. Like, we needed you to stop the run last week and you guys sucked. So please, can you show up and stop the fucking run? Number two, crying out loud, defensive line. Like, holy shit, you guys make probably more. The four of them defensive line starters probably make more than the rest of the defense all fucking put together. Like, do your damn jobs, please. Like you said, Goff is, if I see Goff, let me just tell you right now, if I see Goff getting out of that pocket and running away from our defensive line.
You're going to run on the field, aren't you?
You guys.
We're going to see Mariah just, ding, 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 ding. She's going to take him out.
Like, oh my gosh, the guy can't run. He's slow as a turtle. Do not let him escape from you. So
you think they had a hard time last week because of the ground? I mean, we saw Mooney slip.
Yeah,
I mean, we saw slip,
especially in the first
line,
half.
right? The line's got to be slipping too. So I mean, I just think they're going to be at least 25% better.
I mean, I'll say this: if they're any worse, we lose the game. So they got to get better. And then obviously, like, Ambry, like, I know you're coming back from injury, but my guy, just don't get the fucking penalties. Like once they go after you once and you give them that PI, if I'm the quarterback of the other team, I'm throwing at you every chance I freaking get. You're either letting the guy catch the ball or you're getting a PI. So, like, if he comes in and struggles, don't let him stay in the game and struggle the entire game. You're going to have to pull Diamador Lenore out of the slot, put him to the outside, and pull what's his nuts into the slot. But don't let Ambry cost us this game and struggle the entire game again. Like, if you see that he don't have his confidence, that his injuries holding him back, that he's in his head, whatever the case may be, if you see him struggle early, fix it. Okay? Offense, do your fucking thing. 30 plus points, be the offense that we know you can be. Like, and obviously, we know that the game plan last week was so heavily involved in Debo. So to lose him early was terrible. We saw it. Like, we got Juwan Jennings in the backfield. We got Ray running the wrong freaking route in the wrong spot. Like, our quarterbacks having to yell at him mid-game, like all this shit going wrong. And even George Kittle said, yeah, that was a heavy Debo game. Like, we were expecting him to have 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, heavy Debo game, so hopefully this week, whatever guy the game plans revolved around, we don't lose early. And the offense can just do their thing, I think, something that really pissed me off about last week is that you let Purdy throw 38 times, the most that he's thrown in a game, and in those conditions that he's struggling. Like, if you see your guys are struggling, help them out. Run the fucking ball, and it's not that I don't trust Purdy, but when you see somebody struggling in the rain, he's not on the same page, something's off, yada, yada, stop making him fucking throw the ball. Empty backfield, throwing the ball. Like, it's just not that kind of game, right? Like, so, like, we need Kyle. Like, if the biggest way to shut these critics up is to come out and prove them wrong. We need Purdy to come out, shut him up, have the game of your freaking life, kid, ball out. The only way that we can get this shit off of our coach's back that he, chokes in big games and, he always stops running the ball when he shouldn't and all this shit is to come out and prove him wrong. Coach the game of your life, Kyle. Fred Warner's out there talking. We only need the offense to score, 3 points and we got the rest. Well, you better show up and do it because talking will end this week if you don't. There's only so much to talk about. So, like, we just need our guys. Like, I have so much confidence in this squad if they just show up and be them and do them.
Mm-hmm.
Mariah, are you a coach or a preacher? I'm trying to decide right now.
Put her in the huddle, man. Both. Put her in the huddle.
Where's the donation basket? I'm gonna throw some money in there. One question I've had. I posted it in X, and then I think I posted it in one of the pods you were on earlier this week, Steph. What's fascinating to me is that we're going up against Dan Campbell, who has been a coach who has demonstrated over and over that he is a gutsy play caller. Obviously, Kyle is not. Do we feel like that is going to be what the game comes down to? Or do you think that gutsy play calling is going to be what the defense is going to eat up and make them pay for?
That's tough. It could go either way. I think it really depends how the Lions execute it and how the defense would defend against it. I think we can expect the Lions are going to be aggressive again in this game. I mean, this is a big game for them. And I think based on what Kyle said, though, like he probably does have the confidence in his defense to turn those aggressive moments for the Lions into positive plays for the 49ers. And I mean, the momentum can swing on, if you're aggressive, the momentum can swing, and it can swing the wrong way. Like if you're the Lions and you don't execute, it can swing the wrong way. So that's why like Kyle was like, I don't think that's why Kyle is like as aggressive as, you know, the Dan Campbells, because he kind of looks at it that way. Like, well, what if it goes wrong? And what if the other team gets all this momentum? And, you know, some people say like, oh, that's Kyle being scared or being very conservative. Yeah, it could be like, I'm not going to hold you, but also I think he has seen it. Maybe it's because he's seen the defense take so many of those opportunities and run with it and take that momentum that he's scared to be on the other side of it and have that happen to him. I don't know, but yeah, I can be sure there's going to be a moment like that in this game, and it's going to be Dan Campbell being the aggressive one, and the game could come down to one of those moments. It really could.
I really hope so. I really hope not, because I don't want to be like sick to my stomach and stressing out this entire game, please. Like, I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because it could go anyway. Like, you just hope at the end of the game that you're on the right end of it. And I think that's all you can do. Like, they know it's coming. You know, he's going to take shots. You know, when he gets in different situations, you know, be ready for it.
They need to stay loose. They need to stay loose. Like, they were so tight. And I think that was also a big nick to when Debo's out. You know, I feel like him and Trent and Kittle can help lighten the mood in the huddle. And I feel like they didn't have it, and they were just playing so tight. So I need them to stay loose. Keep that boombox on the sidelines or something. Like, they need to do something to keep it loose.
I have Super Gremlin playing. I don't know.
Score predictions, ladies. What you got for me?
Okay, I'll go first because I had thought about it in earlier shows. I got my little notepad here, so I'm tracking it. 33-17 is what I'm saying.
I like it. I really hope so.
I haven't gotten a feeling yet. I usually wait for a feeling, and then I'm like, okay, that's what I'm feeling. I haven't gotten a feeling yet. I keep waiting for that moment. Like what came to me just now was like 28-14, but then you said what you said, and I can see a scenario where that happens. And again, with us being 25% down and us uploading, you know, this new Debo, all these good things that are coming, I'm like, it could be like a 38-17 game, right? Like it could be one of those nasty stomp situations. I'm not sure. I'm undecided right now. We got the W. I think it's going to be more than 7 is what I'll say for sure at this point.
I like it. I'm going, you know, I said I need my offense to score more than 30. So going 35-23 defense. You better show up. Don't be making me sweat this game. Please. If we can get another, you know, couple interception game, that would be fantastic. You know, put the pressure on Goff. If we can get to Goff and just, you know, get him, we need the sacks, okay? But even if you're not getting the sack and you can just throw him off a little bit, get him pressured, get him nervous, let him know that you're coming, he's going to make the mistakes. We just need to capitalize on it. So
if anybody listening if anybody listening is really good at creating these memes, I really need someone to create an image of Mariah running out to tackle Goff. I need that ASAP. Send it to me at Coach Desi. That thing is going out during the game. 100%.
She's like, oh hell, if no one's gonna stop him, I'll freaking do it.
I'm just gonna say, that's gonna be my sneaky post of just like, we need a sack. I'm just gonna show the Mariah.
Coach Desi, I see the chat has gone crazy wanting to know who you are, where they can find you, where they can listen to you. So please let all the wonderful people know what you got going on, where they can find you, all that good stuff.
Yes. Thanks, Faithful. I love you guys. I am Coach Desi on X and Instagram. And I'm on the Eric Crocker Show, usually on Wednesdays. This week it was Mondays. I have my own podcast, Girlfriends in Football, on Wednesday nights. And of course, I always love showing up for these wonderful ladies here, the GOATs. And so catch me out around in the chats in the Twitter space and Instagram world. And love you guys. Bang, bang.
Yeah, let's go. You're on mute, Mariah.
Well, I guess that's why you're not answering me.
Too excited.
Steph, any closing thoughts? Anything you want to tell the people before we get out of here?
No, I'm just really looking forward to this game. If it makes anyone feel any better, I'm not as nervous about this game than I was last year's NFC Championship going into it. So I don't know if that means anything to anyone, but to me, I think that's a good sign, right? It has to be. So yeah, the vibes are positive. Deebo Samuel is not missing this game. He's going to be out there. There's not going to be any rain. I think our guy's going to step up. I think Brock Purdy's going to have himself a day. He's going to dice up this Lions secondary, and yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it and excited. Tomorrow gonna have my post-game show with Lori Fitzpatrick, and then Sunday after the game I'll be doing a post-game show, so make sure you guys tune into that.
Yes. James, with one more before we get out the door, you're greatly appreciated, sir, says, don't think for a second this will be lopsided. Can't after how they came out against the Packers. This Lions will battle to the end, just how they almost came back in that season opener, 24-21 Niners.
That's
honestly close. As long as we beat them, like I said on my show earlier this week, like this game was ugly. This last game, it was ugly. We didn't play the way we wanted to or how anybody thought we were going to. But guess what? At the end of the day, we got the W, and that's all I give a shit about. So get it. However you got to get it. Chat, you guys are much appreciated. Make sure that if you're watching on my channel and you're not subscribed to the two lovely ladies above me, that you go to the description box of this video, hit the links. It'll take you to both of their channels. Hit that subscribe button for me. Greatly appreciate it. If you're watching on Steph's channel, the same. Please come over to my channel, 49 Faithful Lee. Hit that subscribe button. Go over to our lady Coach Desi up there with Girlfriends in Football. Make sure you hit that subscribe button over there. It is greatly appreciated. And you guys have been awesome, chat. You guys have kept the chat going like crazy. Each and every one of you that came through, we greatly appreciate you. Anybody that watches on replay, you are also greatly appreciated. We couldn't do what we do without you guys. So thank you so much. I'm done for the week. So hopefully next week when I see you all, we'll be talking about another win and we'll get ready for the Super Bowl. But either way, me and Steph will be back here next Thursday, 3 Pacific time for the Two Goat Show. So make sure you come through. Check us out. Until then, Faithful, we're out of here.
Peace.